Dan, welcome. We're just introducing ourselves.
Excellent.
For being present at the meeting, so welcome.
Thank you.
And Dan Horn.
Thank you.
For the record, we do have a quorum. So with that, a stand. Have the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry for the dim lights. We couldn't figure out how to turn them up higher.
We'll survive, I think. Operating in the dark. Here we are. Okay, well, we'll begin with new member introductions. And at the last Board of Selectmen, we were able to fill two vacancies. For the last Board of Selectmen meeting, we were able to fill two vacancies on the commission. So we are now fully rostered with 9 commissioners. And I'd like to welcome, may I call you Dan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan Horn, who joins us. Dan is on for Dan's filling a vacancy, so you have a term for, I believe, 2 years, and then we'll be up for renewal. So welcome. Would you like to just briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm sure some of us have met before. I think I attended a Human Services Commission at one point, representing the Commission for Disabilities. But it's an honor and privilege to serve with you all. I'm excited to see what we can do together here in Fairfield, or how I can help continue the work that you all have been doing. So, and just in terms of introduction, my wife and I, and we've got 3 kids. We've lived in Fairfield about 14 years. Our oldest is a senior at Ludlow. Middle child is in 8th grade at Fairfield Woods, and our youngest is in 5th grade at Osborne Hill Elementary School. So enjoy being here in Fairfield. It's been a wonderful town for our family, and I serve as a pastor at Trinity Baptist Church, which is, I like to think that a frame of reference is right near Sunny Days. So food is my reference point for life. So just on the other side of the tracks from Sunny Days. So happy to be here and serve with you all.
What brought you here?
Julie did. She has a tendency to write my name on things and sign me up for things.
You just go along with it.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, I signed up to serve on the Commission for Disabilities. I feel like it was a great place for me to invest my heart, which is seeing the value in all lives and participating and caring for them and making sure everyone has a voice and can speak up on behalf of others, no matter what age or demographic they represent. And so it was nice participating on that commission, and a natural transition to kind of serve on this commission as well.
We had that, remember we had a Commission on Disabilities that was a temporary commission for a few years. And while it was a fabulous idea, it was a struggle to get a quorum just for timing and things. So with the new charter change, we were able to merge the two, and Dan so willingly.
I did. All kidding aside, I did willingly say yes to all of this. But it's been a joy serving with Julie. She's a wonderful person, and I think that was a big part of why I wanted to continue on.
I like that you're bringing that piece of it to us.
Yes, thank you and welcome. We look forward to working with you. The second commissioner appointed by the board was Ryan Price, and who's also served on the Commission on Disabilities. And unfortunately, Ryan isn't here today, but we also welcome him. So we look forward to your participation and your contributions. So thank you for joining. Shall we approve the minutes?
Oh, yes. There's a change on the agenda, though.
Okay.
Emily was not able to make it today. She'll be here next month.
Okay, so just moving forward then, the minutes of the January meeting have been distributed, and if you've had a chance to read them online or briefly scan them up while you're present here, could we just open it up? I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Right, any discussion, any changes that people would like to make?
Second.
Right, Motion second, and I will take the minutes as being approved unless there's a dissenting vote. Thank you. And I see we are joined by, welcome Nina.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Nina.
All right, moving forward, Emily will not be able to join us this afternoon,
Right.
so we are going to reschedule Emily for the March meeting. And looking forward to her needs assessment on youth, which I think will influence some of the activities and agendas for future meetings. Unfortunately, she's not here today. So moving on to new business, the first order of new business is the election of officers. And seeing how susceptible Dan was to pressure by Julie, we exerted more pressure on Dan, and he has accepted a nomination to be vice chair. So
Bernie, she took her advice and she brought snacks. I mean, that's not low.
it was
You know I'm not that nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, Marty, we do, and Marty and Nina, we do have snacks available. So
No, that's not like me.
We also I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll open up the nominations for each position. I will then nominate the secretary as well. Open that up, and then if there's no other nominations, I'll ask for a vote as a slate for the two candidates, if that's acceptable. All right, so Dan, thank you. I'd first like to nominate Dan as vice chair of the commission. May I have a second on that?
My second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Welcome. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, I'll move on to the secretary. Also
Hello.
susceptible to unacceptable pressure.
While I'm in Florida.
Okay, yes, while she was away, stranded at an airport. She readily
She
agreed.
answered the phone.
Readily agreed to accept the nomination as
Thank you.
secretary of the commission. So with that, I'd like to nominate Sandy as secretary for the program year. May I have a second on that? All right, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'd say the nominations are closed, and we now have candidates for vice chair, Dan Van Horn, secretary, Sandy Berman. May I ask for a vote for the two of them as a slate, please? I'll make the motion that they confirmed in position. And may I have a second on that?
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? And with no other nominations, may we just have a vote by consent? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Vote is unanimous. And I'd like to welcome our two new officers. Thank you very much for your commitment to serve.
Can I just interrupt a sec? Look at how happy Marty is right now.
I'm always happy.
Oh,
Well, there we are. So, well, it's a good start. It's, we're a month behind, only a month behind in terms of the election. So, but I'm glad to be able to say that we have a full staff of commissioners now, 9, and the officers appointed. So we're ready for an ambitious agenda. So moving forward. With other new business, I'll turn it over to Julie.
well, I think we were gonna get to board priorities and planning.
Oh, yes, sorry, on the B.
Yeah.
Priority,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry about that.
You want to start?
So Marty and I had met about trying to figure out what kind of issues and priorities the board might want to work on in the next year or two. To, and that could mean subcommittees or just group work. And a couple of ideas were like a legislative committee. There's a few things coming up for the state representatives that impact seniors that impact people with disabilities, and that could be an issue. One could be a subcommittee that's disabilities. Well, we have our new youth services social worker. We could have something that's on youth services. But we were really hoping you would have ideas for what kind of issues you're interested in discussing.
I'd just like to add that we're fortunate to have members of the Commission on Disabilities now as members of the commission. But that concept of a focus on disabilities actually initiated with when I was on the commission previously, with a strong advocate on the commission who was just wanted to focus our attention and efforts. And it began almost as a weekly question or a monthly question at meetings. And we decided to establish a subcommittee of the commission to work on that, which evolved into the Commission on Disabilities, which has done, I think, critical work for the town and for the population in Fairfield. So this notion of having working committees working on particular topics that are of interest to the commission and the population that it serves, I think would be useful. So we'd be looking to some ideas. One of the ideas was, of course, legislative advocacy, where we just have somebody being able to report on things that might be happening in Hartford that affect the populations that we serve. I know on a board that I'm on, for example, we have a strong legislative advocacy subcommittee, and we communicate with the legislators about issues that are of interest to the agency. And this might be, for example, I'm thinking that there might be template letters of advocacy sent to the local legislators. We might have the local legislators attend the meeting on occasion, just for a briefing on some of the issues, but things like that. So this issue of identifying agenda topics that we might be able to report on and work as subcommittees is something that we'd like to consider and bring forward over the next couple meetings. And we're welcome to ideas about what the areas of interest are. I think disabilities is a natural one, particularly since we have commissioner members with experience in the arena. So that would be one given. And there may be others. I know there are others. So we could, if you have ideas, communicate with Julie or with me, and we'll just bring them forward for a discussion and agenda. And sometimes the work is simply just doing a report, or it might involve, I'd like to have at least 2 commission members on everything that we're looking at, so it's not a one-person job. But it's not something that I think involves a lot of time or effort, but an area of interest that you might have that you want to bring forward as an agenda item for the commission and look at work. So I think that's the thought.
Right. The couple things that prompted this, we have next month, we have Marie Allen from Agency on Aging coming to speak with us. And then the month after, we have Heather Gately, who is a dementia specialist. And for both, Marie is coming specifically to talk about what priorities we may have for this commission or for the town, or things that are concerning us. You know, there are things coming up with Medicaid spending, with how much aides are paid, hospital reimbursements. You know, they're all pretty detailed, but they do impact our seniors. And with disabilities, the work started with the commission on trying to find that low-hanging fruit to make an impact. This year kind of comes to a head for 2 reasons. One is that Brenda and I are working with Agency on Aging on the ADA is updated to include dementia as a disability starting May 1st. And that we need trainings. We need to investigate or explore what that means for the town. It's not just the senior center or social services, it's town buildings, it's town businesses, and what does that look like? And you know, people who are passionate about that looking into it would be helpful. And so we have a couple speakers coming in to start those conversations. You know, the ADA anniversary, we'd always tried to get something going for that. You know, maybe this is a way we can get that going.
So as of May 1st, dementia is considered part of the ADA.
Yes.
So that means town programming and things like that has to include dementia services.
Staff needs to be trained for it.
And services would be included.
And staffing would be a piece of that. We're learning about it still.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating because I'm a dementia practitioner, as you know, and so, you know, and where the real void is in all the towns is when you have someone with, mild impairment, mild to moderate impairment, but they don't belong in adult daycare yet, but the family's burned out. Now we have a little bit of guide money that'll help. But if we had something where, and now if it's under ADA, the senior center is having to provide some kind of dementia services where we can drop them for 3 hours at a time. Would be a game changer. A game changer, because these families are struggling trying to find something like that.
They need a break.
But what we have now is that if somebody has dementia and is unable to be independent and self-directed, we say, please send them with
I know.
someone.
I know.
So there's a lot of things to consider about what that looks like and how we do it.
So now you would need to provide
Yeah,
that
you
person,
wouldn't
you wouldn't be
provide that.
able to say, bring somebody on your
That's a
own?
game changer.
Could that be a volunteer thing where, let's say myself goes to the senior center and sits with people for 3 hours? That would be a volunteer thing?
That would be a great thing to explore. I don't know what that looks like with liabilities and with the town. We'd have to, we have to we should get a list of ideas and then have the town risk manager and attorney weigh in on what those ideas are. I think that would be a great one. It's also how we use the space in the building and where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Well, it's gonna be an amazing service because I've gotten 4 calls in the last week and a half for something like this.
Yeah.
Yes, really.
It's so
A-
sad.
And so, they're not ready for adult daycare, but the wife is beyond herself. And what do we do?
And I think with, for programs that have any federal funding supporting them, there'll be a long list of compliance requirements.
Right.
Thinking immediately of Title VI and Title IX.
Yes.
In terms of access, provision of services, language capabilities, things like that.
Right, and we
So-
have to have that already
Yeah.
for the buses as you do at
Yeah.
Mosaic. But, this does add a new dimension that we have to learn about. We have to train
Yeah.
staff, we have to train town. And that's, so we have a lot to learn. That's the perfect example of what a subcommittee could explore.
Right.
Can I ask a question? I think it's a great idea. I love the priority work. I think subcommittees are a great way to do it. I think the legislative advocacy is very smart. I guess my question is for Brenda and Julie, like, where do you see us supporting you? I mean, you've already said a couple things, but are there any other areas where you feel like we could support your work better by looking at something or learning about something? And you don't have to answer that now, but that to me is also, I mean, you guys are the staff, you guys are the ones there every day. We're not. So how can we best support you?
I appreciate that, Nina, thanks. It's budget season, so when we go before Board of Finance or RTM, if people are around, that would be great to have that support there as backup.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not a difficult budget year for us this year. It's, we are a very quiet and easy budget. Our only addition is staffing and having youth services there. So we're in good shape for that. But, the commission is one of the calls is to represent to the town the needs of our residents to the town, and also to our residents what the town is looking for or services that we're offering. So as those things come up, it would be great to have support. I can't pinpoint something this second, but I know it'll come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the other thing is thinking about, Emily's just done this amazing, very comprehensive needs assessment. So when we hear from her, there could also be things that come out of that align with something that we could do with this board.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And she'll be here next month that you weren't here. She
Yeah.
couldn't come today, so she'll be here next month.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great. And we also have to figure out how to present that information to the town, that you will all be the recipients of the first run at that, we're her findings and how we want to present that and what we want to do. And Nina, thank God, has been very instrumental in being a
sounding board for Emily with that, with experience. So
Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
Thanks, Nina.
yeah.
Can I go back and ask one more question about the ADA and dementia thing? Does that mean with your budget that you're doing right now, that you're budgeting money for this type of
No.
program?
No, we don't even have we don't have the structure for that yet from town about what that's gonna look like.
This will go into place in 2027 perhaps.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, that's something we will need to represent to the town about, what those needs look like, because it is not simply social services and the senior center. Yeah, I'm not sure, how much guidance the town is getting from that yet, but we'll work on that. Great question.
All right, well, I think my sense of it is that the legislative advocacy type approach might be a good place to start because it actually will serve an immediate purpose. So if there's commissioners that are interested in supporting that with a little bit of an activity, as let's say we're going to form a subcommittee on legislative advocacy and support, you might send you an email to Julie, let her know.
Yeah, great.
And we'll see if we can begin formalizing a subcommittee structure for that, which would have a report at a monthly meeting down the road. But if we could begin formalizing that sometime at the next meeting, just let Julie know that you're interested and we'll keep working on it. All right.
Bernie, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Does anyone have experience in that, in the area of legislative advocacy?
Nina does.
Oh, she raised her hand. She volunteered. You all saw that.
In a different life, I did some lobbying here in Connecticut. I mean, the people I was lobbying with are no longer in office, but the process remains the same. I don't say I have a sufficient experience, but I'd be able to support the effort. And that's and it's really sometimes it's nothing more than having an email template that people send. So,
I do need to learn from the town what that looks like for us to do. I know the town has a lobbyist, so we can also tap that person to come in and do things, but I don't know if we're restricted in any way from a direct approach or not, but I'll learn that by next meeting.
Okay.
My understanding, and I will be corrected by this, is that there may be some constraints on the commission acting as a lobbyist, but individual members in a private capacity can
Advocate.
Yes,
Yeah,
it doesn't restrict that at all. So even if we identify topics in your role as a private citizen, to use that term, you're free to advocate. Just without
Would that subcommittee, would they have access to like even build a relationship with the town's lobbyists and say?
I would think so.
Concerns? Okay.
You know, I find out. I don't know. That's a great question.
I think that we identify legislation that might be in the interest of support, or that might be an interest in support, that may be one of the speakers that we have at a future meeting.
Yeah.
The town lobbyists.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's just to move it forward and how we might move forward with that.
Right.
All right. I am aware that people associated with senior centers and volunteers on senior service committees have testified in Hartford on behalf of legislations.
And aren't you on a cool new committee?
Yes, I am for the time being. I am on the Coal New Committee that
Mhm.
is a group of, I think I mentioned it at the last meeting. It's they're trying to establish a statewide network of people associated with senior centers and public geriatric services providers in Connecticut. So it's mostly commissioners, nonprofit associates, things like that. And I think what I'll do is actually distribute, when I get the minutes of that first meeting that we had distributed. It's strictly volunteer, but they're looking to establish a 501c3 to advocate on behalf of the entire network. It's really right now a networking organization more than anything else.
We could add you to the agenda every month to report on that.
I see, okay.
Marty, you must have done a ton of legislative.
I was just gonna say, yeah, in a different life, I was
Your other life, yeah.
so I do have some experience and be happy to help any way that I can with that too.
Yeah, that's great.
Great to know, Marty.
We all heard it.
In your career.
All right, if you're interested in working on it, if you have ideas for a subcommittee, disability and legislative advocacy are two that come to mind right away. There's others that people have an interest in, as both servicing town's population or just a personal interest that would be a benefit to either the senior center or the population that we serve. Please let Julie know and we'll move forward with that.
Julie, I don't know if this is even appropriate, but similar to the theme around recognizing a need for respite care for those dealing with loved ones with dementia or whatever. There are a few different places I think in our town where, like, is that something that this commission would, investigate? Like, is there a place for hearing from the town or recognizing what areas of respite care or need are even the committee? Is that even appropriate for this, or is that kind of like in a different?
That's a great question. I think that, remember with Commission on Disabilities, we started to work on gathering resources and trying to get as much as we could for people with disabilities in one place. I think that would be appropriate for the committee, for a subcommittee, to take a look at that and kind of pull together what resources are available, not just in Fairfield, but for the residents who may be struggling and expanding their reach to, I think it's a great idea.
Respite
here.
care often has some medical component or oversight that's needed.
Yeah.
And so I could see where that might be, at least the respite that I deal with, I could see where that might be an issue as far as responsibilities, training.
Yeah, and then there's a liability. So I know it's kind of like it's still a very vague thought or idea or even need. I think in the time that with the Commission for Disabilities coming on, COVID hitting, meeting with and speaking with some of these families of young people, middle-aged people, there's so much need, and some of it was medical like kind of stepping in, providing respite care so that family can go away, so you need medical background. But also some of it's just like providing spaces where they're not isolated as individuals, but that they have a place to come to and interact with other community members. But again, I don't know, we live in a world where a lot of that is also a privatized sort of business or model that maybe the town doesn't provide, but points to the resources that are available. I don't know.
I don't know if the town would, I don't think the town would provide medical care, but to have a list of resources of who does provide that, we can do that. It would also be great at this point to have Adaptive Rec back, to talk about because for people with disabilities, to rehear what's going on with that and what that looks like. And that's one thing that we can already point to,
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's also anticipated that the more inclusive definition of dementia
Yes.
may open up more access to adult daycare for certain individuals, which provides at least daily or half-day respite care, but sorry, you know more.
Well, there's an incredible program that's the only one in the state. It's called Live Well, and it's up in Pomfret or upstate somewhere. It's up there. It's up there. It's like 40 miles from here. It is phenomenal. It's like Dementia University. It's a freestanding building. They basically have classes like every 45 minutes where the person that has dementia goes, the spouse or significant other often participates with them, or there's co-classes for that significant other. There's a cafe for them to have lunch. It's an unbelievable model. It's the only one in the state. And I begged them to come down here and try to start a satellite program down here because we could fill it. But it's just like, they do hands-on type things. They'll do some brain stim. It's really just an amazing, they bring in music programs in the evening for people to, it's really just an amazing program. So
One of it trying to enhance their.
Any kind of cognitive stimulation is, it's, we're not stopping the dementia, but we're trying to stave off the progression.
Yes.
And so, by providing that kind of stimulation, for lack of a better word, kind of slows the progression
I
down.
get it.
So we're
Yeah.
trying to reconnect,
Which is good.
reconnect the synapses, but this Live Well, I'm loving that. I can't volunteer for anything else, but my point is, the whole ADA thing and opening something like that, the memory cafes. I mean, we are in a desert down here.
We
Fairfield
used to
County.
have, Mosaic had a satellite in the senior center
Wow.
pre-COVID. And then COVID hit. and
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
No, because I have a lot of, Mosaic, but a lot of them don't, the memory workshop is amazing. But a lot of them don't qualify for the adult daycare, and the memory workshop has a cutoff of where the cognition skill needs to be. So, but
One thing I just want to bring up too, and I brought it up quite a while ago, about the, like in New York, so many people died because they were unattended to during the freeze. And we have streetwalkers, and I believe one died. And we don't seem to care because exit 19 in Southport, there's a man there every day, and he's like, hi, and he's losing it, it seems, unless he's becoming more, getting really more into it to figure out a way to get people to stop. But he's got old signs, cardboard signs and stuff, and he's singing and he's acting goofy now. And who tends to that? Does anybody in town, are we not responsible for people like that?
Operation Hope definitely is. But they're allowed to not participate in programs, and it doesn't necessarily mean they don't have a place to sleep, but that could be that during the day, that's what they go do. It might be helpful to have somebody from Operation Hope come, and also from the police department. because-
So
Yeah.
police usually are the
Yeah, and they, it's,
conduit.
Do we know where they live?
no, but we don't have to, it's hard because it's hard to see, we get calls about somebody who walks up and down Post Road every day with bottles and cans, and he is not homeless.
Oh,
He's right, that's he,
His
a source of
choice.
income, right?
well, at
So,
least we know.
well, but it's their right to live how they want. I do know from when the police came to one of our staff meetings, that is, as long as somebody is at a parking lot or the end of a street or on the highway ramp, as long as they're not standing in the road, it's perfectly legal for them to be soliciting money from anywhere. The minute they step on a road or in a parking lot, that ends. They can be arrested. So they're very
Oh,
educated.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. But that would be a great thing to have somebody come and inform us so that we can inform others.
Yes, that'd be great. And what else, where was I going now? I lost my train of thought already. But, yeah, I think that's important. Oh, my question was, where is Operation Hope now? Where do they house people as far as sleeping at night? And I know they're being fed.
They don't have a shelter. They don't have a place for people to sleep in.
They don't anymore.
They have homeless outreach social workers who are amazing. And they
What is
have-
that house next to the library, the main library? Wasn't that for something like that?
No,
That was a Kennedy Center group home at one time.
Oh, okay.
The one on the old Post Road you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Kennedy Center group home.
Okay.
The last specific knowledge I had of this was it's at least a year old, but at that time, and it was related to CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant funding that the town gets, there was not a shelter bed in the town of Fairfield.
right, there's not.
Anyone who was in need, there was outreach in Fairfield, but they were being sent to different communities for a bed. But and I don't know if that has changed,
It
but
hasn't.
as of 2025, this time last year, actually, there were no shelter beds in the town.
Oh, well, I wasn't even aware of that, because in my other life, as a social worker in Westport, Fairfield had the only shelter for children and women. That, Westport has one for men, but the only where we would send women and children was Fairfield.
Right.
So
I
that
believe
doesn't exist
Fairfield
anymore.
Male residents are provided overnight accommodation in Westport now.
In Westport at the
I believe.
Gillespie
Well, it's
Center.
211, so it's wherever there's a
Yeah.
bed. So it's a whole
Oh,
system.
wow, okay.
You go where there's a bed.
But they do feed them, right?
Yes.
2 meals a day, they do.
Okay, just in the interest of time, please, if you have ideas along these two topics, about the subcommittees or the topic issues, and there's been several wonderful ideas discussed here tonight, please let Julie know, and we'll keep them alive as agenda items over the next couple of months. But moving on, are we on to old business?
Old business.
Nina, if you may.
So I was not at the last Board of Health meeting,
Excellent.
so I don't have a report.
Okay.
Nina, thank you very much. for your-
You're very welcome. I will try my best to get to the next one.
All right, and then moving on, we are on to department update with Senior Center.
Yeah.
Brenda, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a while. Yeah, all things are going well. I left the March newsletter and our March Lifelong Learner brochure there for you to pick up. We had a quarterly survey done in January, which went really well. Over 150 responses. 99% of the members are very happy. Most of the members visit, and I have a copy here for you. I'll leave it if anyone would like to see the actual survey. Perhaps you might have received it if you're on our email list. But a majority of the members visit a few times a week for exercise classes, lifelong learning classes, and other educational and health-related presentations. And although we only received 150 responses, which is still pretty good, that's a pretty good, the majority of members do participate in those in exercise classes, lifelong learning, and educational health-related presentations. Majority of the responses indicated that programming costs have not affected participation. So that was really great to see. The overall needs are addressed professionally by the staff. They're really happy with our instructors. They're really happy with our programming. Our lunch has decreased a lot. We actually just met with RW Resources today, who takes care of our lunch program, and we're just working with them to increase that a little bit. But the lunch program pre-COVID is kind of just decreased from when it was before COVID. People are coming and going. They're doing their own thing. They're eating other places. Lots of restaurants have senior specials. So, but we're working with RW just to see if we can increase that a little bit. 100% of the people that took the survey would recommend the center to a friend. So that was great to see. So it's always very helpful to gather that information from our members. We just recently had registration for our spring semester of exercise classes in pickleball. Our spring semester is March, April, and May, and we had over 885 people register on registration day for in-town members. So in-town members register before out-of-town members. They have a 3-day, they register 3 days before out-of-town members. And on the out-of-town day, we had 75 people register, so we're really happy with that. We have 17 exercise classes and 4 pickleball sessions, collected over $26,000, so that was really great. We're having an age-friendly Aging in Place fair in April, so you'll hear more about it. That's all. Anyone have any questions? The center or?
If I may, Julie, with your insight or knowledge, may I ask if there was anything in the survey that surprised you?
Good question. Not really, not really. And the answer is, we do this quarterly. I really like when they have suggestions for classes. We had some really excellent suggestions, topics that maybe we've had in the past. It was like, oh yes, let's bring that back again. A lot of medical presentations they really enjoy, and so bringing that back. So I just really like that. Some of the ideas are great, and they're coming from our members, so that's what we should be listening to. So
Any comments that stood out? There was the
one that wanted showgirls. I figure we can't do that. It was overwhelming positive, I have to say. So that was just always really good to hear. And it's really good for the whole staff to hear that overall people are happy. And then even some of the comments that, they like more classes, or, registration day does get tricky sometimes because we have so many registering, and that's frustrating for members. So we're always trying to alleviate some of that stress on registration day. We work with the platform that we use for registration day.
A lot of comments on how bad the food is.
Yes, the food, the
Yeah.
percentage, hence our meeting with RW today. So they're just not happy with food quality. And the food program is part of the Older Americans Act, and it's a nutrition, fits the basic, we don't have a private chef that comes in and cooks these. That's costs a lot of money. And I don't know if there would be the need. We've always talked about that, really be the need anyway, if people would really come in for that. But yeah.
Well, knowing how closely and the quality of the interactions between the staff and the members, I'm not surprised there's no surprises in the survey findings.
They're not shy. They're not a shy.
No,
people.
they're not shy.
And
Yes.
maybe the quality of food might be in a question like for Ms. Allen.
Oh, she is
At
already,
the
is very
March
helpful.
meeting, because it
Yeah.
is through SWACA.
It's, they are the facilitators of the grant, the fiduciaries. We have met with them as well. Today was just trying to figure out how to improve it.
We have a new administrative assistant. Her name is Fran Gerasi. So that's wonderful. She's there Monday through Friday, 9 to 1.
In Jan's desk.
At Jan's desk, yes, which is still referred to for a little while as, Jan's desk. Yeah, any other questions?
All right, thank you, Brenda. And social services?
We're doing just fine right now. We're still in energy assistance season. So next week, Operation Fuel, which is now called Generation Power, opens up for exactly 8 days. And those are benefits of $500 per eligible family. Energy assistance through Alliance is still open, but very slow to approve. We're not getting a ton of pushback yet from the changes in SNAP about the work and volunteer requirements for recipients right now. But that we expect that will come as people they're starting to get paid at different times. Instead of the first of the month, they get the debit card gets refilled at different intervals, and that is hard for people to adjust to. So that is an interesting one. We have a new social worker who runs our caregiver group and our bereavement group, and it's now 2 caregiver group and 2 bereavement groups because there's such a need, and she's a wonderful leader. So I'm happy to report that that's something that we are really able to offer, to provide to to people who really need it.
All right, well, thank you. Any questions for Julie? Is there any other business to come before the commission? Hearing none, we meet again on March 26th, Thursday. And there will be cookies for those who.
Maybe, there may not
With a turnout like this, we'll make it there will be cookies.
Julie, you started this, you gotta continue it.
Clearly, it's not me.
With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Hi.
Stand adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All the
Bye.
best. Thanks. Marty, it snowed up here, by the way.
I heard that. Believe it or not, I heard that.